Hi everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video we are going to learn how to solve sum of digit difference of all pairs problem from the Leetcode. In this problem we will be given an array of numbers and all the numbers which are present in the array will have equal number of digits. Since all the numbers which are present in the array have equal number of digits, we can take a digit from a number and compare it to corresponding places digit of other numbers. If other number does not have the same digit at the same place, we have to increment the digit difference count by 1. We have to do this operation for all the pairs. One way to solve this problem is considering all the unique pairs and then going through individual bits of those numbers, and if they are not equal then we will increment the counter. Instead of going through the numbers for extracting digits again and again for calculating difference of digits, we can use Hashmap for storing the count of digit at each place. Let's go through one example to understand how can we compute digit difference for a particular example. The first example is 13, 23 and 12. Let's consider all the unique pairs. The first unique pair is 13 and 23 and the second unique pair is 13 and 12 and the third unique pair is 23 and 12. So now that we have these pairs, we have to compute digit difference. And when we take this particular pair, we will compare this digit with this digit. Since these two are not matching, we will increase the count by 1. And then we will compare these two digits. Since these are matching, we don't increment the count. And here in this pair, we will compare this digit with this particular digit. Since both are matching, we don't increment the count. And if you compare these two digits, here 3 is present and here 2 is present, we have to increment the count. And then we will consider this particular pair, and when we compare these two things, here digits are not matching and we have to increment the count. And when we compare these two digits, here also digits are not matching, we have to increment the count, and totally we will have 4 digit difference count. This is a brute force way of solving this problem. What we can do is, let's say we will consider all the digits and we will take this particular digit. So 1, 2 and 1. So in this place, for this first number, let's say this is our first number 13. For this number and for this place, how many count we have to increment? Because when we consider pairs, we will compare these two things for this particular number. In the first case, we will get a different digits because here 1 is present and 2 is present. And for the second thing, 1 and 1 are matching, we don't get a digit difference count. So what we can say is, we will get how many digits which are different from 1. Here totally there are 3 numbers, 13, 23 and 12. And when we consider this particular number 13 and when we compare this position with every other position, we are going to get the count as +1 because here 1 and 1 are matching and here 1 and 2 are not matching. So we will get count as 1. So if we have a hash map which is going to store this information, then we can access that hash map and then we can increment the count by, let's say here the n is 3 because there are only 3 numbers which are present, and for this position one count is, for position let's say this is 0, the ones count is 2, and digit difference that we are going to get is n minus 2 because that will be the only difference that we are going to get. So we are going to do this for all the numbers, but when we do this for all the numbers, we will double count the digit difference, because here when I was explaining the initial solution, when I said 13, 23 and 12, we were considering, first we considered these two pairs and then we considered this pair, and when I moved to 23 we took these two pairs. But when we follow this approach where we store all the count of digits for each place in a hash map and then we count the difference, we are going to consider each pair twice. So we have to divide the final answer by 2 to get the correct answer. We will code the same solution so that it becomes easy to understand. Implement the same solution that we have discussed. First, we will have a map. We are going to declare an unordered map which is going to store an unordered map for each position. Key will be position and values will be another unordered map which is going to store for each position what is the count of 1 and what is the count of 2. Since digits can vary from 0 to 9, we will have count for 0 to 9 for each position, and count will be long. I will explain later why I am choosing a character as key for instead of integer, so that how we are going to simplify our implementation. I'm going to call this as count, and then we will start going through the numbers which are present. Let's store this nums.size in a variable because it will be useful later. I less than n, I plus plus, and then what we are going to do is we are going to convert each particular number into a string. Instead of extracting digits by dividing and doing a modulo operation, what we can do is we can convert this whole number into a string and then we can access each bit. That's what we are doing here. So now this j represents each position. J less than num string dot size j plus plus. So now we are going through individual bits of a particular number. Now we have to increment count of j. This represents a particular position, and for this key will be whatever the digit which is present, num of str of j. So this j represents position and num of str of j, this particular thing represents character value of the digit which is present at that position. We have to increment that count, and this is how we are going to store what is the count of each digit at a particular position. And once we are done with this, once we are done with calculating the count for each digit for a position, then once again we are going to go through these numbers. I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and then once again we are going to follow the same procedure. We are going to convert this particular number into a string, and now for this number we are going to calculate digit difference for each position. In j equals to 0, j less than str dot size j plus plus, and here we will declare another variable which is of type long, and I'm going to call this as digit difference, and I'm going to initialize it to 0. And here what we are going to check is if count of this is the position, j is the position, and num of str of j, this is the equivalent character value for that digit. If this is greater than 0, then we have to increment our digit difference. Digit difference plus equals to n minus the count which is present for that position. And for that particular digit, num str of j. The reason we are subtracting this particular number from n is, let's say we have 3 numbers, and at position 0 we have, in the first example itself, if you consider this first position, 1 is present twice at position 0, here and here. And when we calculate for this particular number, when we calculate the digit difference, we are going to get 1 because 1 and 2 doesn't match and 1 and 1 will match. So we will get a digit difference of 1 because 1 is present twice and total numbers given are 3. So 3 minus 2 will result in 1. So but when we do this for this particular number, we are going to double count the digit difference. So that is why we have to digit difference after doing it for all the pairs. Since we consider each pair twice, we have to divide it by 2. And finally, we will return digit difference. Here we have, okay, instead of nums, I am using num. Let's fix this typo and try to run this solution again to check whether it passes the initial test cases. Yes, this is passing the initial test cases. Let's submit this solution and check whether it passes all the test cases or not. Yes, as you can see here, this solution is passing all the test cases. If you are interested in learning more about other data structures and algorithm related problems, please check out other videos from my channel. Thanks for watching this video.